This is the Forestmaster FM6DD wood chipper, and they're incredible value still. They're still at under £500, and they were this price 2 years ago, and they're still at it now. Now, I've had this machine for 2 years, and I haven't used it every week. Sometimes we might go a month or so, or even a couple of months without using it, and every time I get it out, it always starts. It's got a traditional choke on it and throttle on it, and a little bit of fiddling, away she goes. And it'll run quite happily without any problems, I found. And we had it running one day for about 5 hours, so we obviously had to stop to refuel it, and the engine didn't even blink. It just ran out of petrol, we refilled it, and away it went. Now, I have read reviews where they said that the blades aren't very good and they're too soft and put harder blades on. But I've done another video on changing the blades on this thing, and to be honest, when I took the blades off, they weren't really blunt at all. I could have left it alone, but I thought I'd just turn around, because the blade itself has got two edges, and you can just turn it around. It only uses one edge, and you've got a perfectly sharp blade there. But it didn't really need it, to be honest. It looked like a sort of fairly new blade, a little bit rusty, but still operational. When it comes to practically using it, it's got quite a narrow chute on it, and you've got to pay a lot more money for a wider chute. And when ours come, it had this silly European plate on it with these things there, which has got a 2-inch gap on it that we can supposedly to measure so you don't put anything too big in. But if you take that off, it's a totally different animal, and it really will munch through the stuff. But when you cut your shrubs down or your small trees down, you've really got to think about that hopper is not really very big to get a huge branch on. You've got to cut them into long, thin branches, and it will cope with them very, very well. The actual chippings themselves are quite usable. I use them on paths. It doesn't sort of shred it like some of them do and leave long shredded bits. It does chip them into quite a nice size. I did quite a few years ago have quite a big Elliott shredder, but it was so big and heavy. It was 90 kilograms, and it was quite an effort to get it in the van. It took up a lot of space. I found a lot of the time I ended up just thinking, well, I'll just bag it and take it down the tip rather than bothering to shred it. But with this little machine, it's so small, you can just sort of tuck it away. It's smaller than a mower, really, and you can tuck it away in your van. And if you get these awkward bits which are going to fill your van up so you can't do any more work that day, it's great just to whack them through the shredder and make them so much smaller and so much more carryable. It doesn't block up that much, and it's mainly if you've got sort of moist stuff, leafy stuff. But I found the best thing to do is to have a blower. If you've got an electric blower, a battery one, just have that near the machine, and you can very often blow the stuff out, and it will just carry on. Once it's cleared, it will just carry on, because it's normally just dust rather than something wedged in there. Now, if you do get something stuck in there and you can't blow it out, it's quite easy to clear. You've got access to the blade on both sides with these chutes, and they're just a couple of bolts. This one here for the big hopper, and just that one bolt, and you can lift that up and get to the blades. And if it's really stuck on the other end, it's a couple of bolts for the other one on the other side. Now, I have heard people complain about these wires on the front, but being exposed and not actually behind a panel. But I've never found it a problem catching something on those wires at all in the couple of years I've had it. But the thing you'll be surprised with when you see one of these is just how small they are and how powerful they are for such a small machine. And they only weigh about 37 kilograms, so it's quite liftable. And if you've got, like I've got here, a van load of rubbish, then it's quite easy just to chuck it on top of the bags and away you go. it's really the price of a hand tool, really, and it's a great thing to have in your armoury when you're out maintaining sites.